All right, so today we are looking at multiplication of polynomials. Before we start, we'll just do a quick review of multiplying monomials. So this is a monomial and it's being multiplied by this monomial. All right, so all we did here to multiply this out was we multiply here 8 times negative 5. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. and then we would have to use our exponent rules with variables. So we have x to the power of 3 multiplying by x to the power of 2. Same bases being multiplied together, you can add the exponents. So that gives me x to the power of 5, right? Because 3 plus 2, I add the exponents to give me 5. And then lastly, I have y, and there's no other y it's being multiplied by, so we would just have y, just like that. All right, but the examples we're going to look at today, we're going to have maybe a monomial being multiplied by a binomial, and then we're going to have two binomials being multiplied together. So there's two methods we're going to look at today. The first method is called distributive property. All right, so this is the first method we're looking at, and our first example we'll look at is something you guys have already seen when we were doing addition and subtraction of polynomials, is if we have something like this. All right, so when we have a number in front of a bracket, we know that this number, we multiply it to everything inside the bracket. So this 5, we would multiply with the 2x squared, and that 5 we would multiply with that negative 3x. When we're showing our steps for distributive property, you just have to show that you've taken that 5 and you've multiplied it by 2x squared. And then you've taken that 5 and you multiplied it by negative 3x. All right, so that is just a step showing, again, you've taken the 5, multiplied it by 2x squared. I'm showing it right here. And then it was a positive 5, so I did put a positive 5 here, and we multiplied it by negative 3x, just like that. All right, and then we can just multiply that out. So 5 times 2x squared, that gives me 10x squared. And then 5 times negative 3x is minus or negative 15x. All right, and that would be the answer there. Okay, let's take a look at our second example. We have negative 3x squared, and it's on the outside of the bracket. Inside we have 2x squared plus 4x minus 2. So again, it's a monomial, and it's multiplying inside everything inside this bracket. Inside the bracket we have a trinomial. So using the method we have before, we know that we have to multiply this by everything inside of the bracket. To show this as distributive property, we could just write this out as negative 3x squared. It's multiplying the first term, 2x squared, 2x squared, and then that negative 3x squared is multiplying the second term, which is 4x, and then that negative 3x squared is multiplying the negative 2. All right, so that's just showing that method of distributive property. So now we can go ahead and just multiply. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then we have an x squared multiplied by x squared. So you add your exponents. It becomes x to the power of 4. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. We have an x squared and an x. So 2 plus 1 when we add our exponents. So x to the power of 3. And then last one here is just negative 3x squared times negative 2. That becomes plus 6x squared. Okay, and then that is it. There's nothing here that we can collect or simplify further, so this is the final answer. All right, so the second method we're going to talk about today is called the FOIL method. So FOIL is the FOIL method, and really important, it is used only when we're multiplying two binomials together. So F stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, and L stands for last. So let's take a look at an example so that this makes more sense. Our example is 3x plus 4 is multiplied by 2x minus 5. So this is what it would look like. This is two binomials being multiplied together. All right, so two terms here, that's a binomial. You got two terms here, that's a binomial. And they're in brackets being multiplied together. So F stands for first. So first means you're going to multiply the first two terms together. So first meaning the 3x and the 2x will be multiplied together. All right, so I'm just going to show that like this. So that's what it means by first. Next, it says the two outside terms. So the two terms on the outside are 3x and negative 5. Those are the two terms that are on the outside. So you would multiply those two together next. Next is I. I stands for inside. So the two terms on the inside you would multiply together. So 4 times 2x will be multiplied together next. So I'm just going to show that like this. And then it says L are the two last terms. So this is a last term and this is the last term in each binomial. So then you would multiply those two last terms together, which I'm going to show like this. All right. So if I were to show this now as each term, how it was being multiplied together. So my first would be 3x times 2x being multiplied together. Then it was the 3x being multiplied by the negative 5. And then it was 4 times 2x. And lastly, it was 4 times negative 5. All right, so let's just multiply this out now. So 3x times 2x, so 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 4 times 2x is 8x plus 8x. And then 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. All right, you'll always end up with these two terms in the middle that can be collected together. I'm just going to show that. These two can be collected together. So negative 15x plus 8x is what you would collect together. So 6x squared minus 7x, and don't forget there's a minus 20 there. And that is now multiplied out. All right, so here is our next example, negative 5x minus 8. It's being multiplied by 2x minus 3. They are two binomials, so we have to use the FOIL method. So we use our first outside, the two terms inside, and then the two last terms. So first, outside, inside, last. And I've just shown it with those arrows. All right, so let's multiply this out. So negative 5x times 2x. That's going to give me negative 10x squared. All right, so again, that was negative 5 times 2 gives me the negative 10. X times x, it's 1 and 1, add the exponents together, 1 plus 1 is 2. Next is negative 5x times negative 3, that is plus 15x. All right, next we are doing the inside terms, the 2 inside. So negative 8 times 2x, that gives me negative 16x. And lastly, we have negative 8 times negative 3, which is plus 24. All right, so notice again here that our two terms here on the inside can be collected together because they both contain the x. So we have negative 10x squared, and then 15x minus 16x is a negative 1x, or just minus x, and then plus 24. Okay, so 2x plus 2 is being multiplied by 4x plus 5. So we are going to be using the FOIL method. So our first terms, 2x times 4x, that gives me 8x squared. Then I have the outside terms, which is 2x times 5, which is 10x plus 10x. Then I have I for my inside terms, which is 2 times 4x, which equals 8x. And then I have 2 times 5, which is just 10 plus 10. All right, and then we always end up with these two in the middle that we can collect together. So 10x plus 8x, which will give me 18x. So 8x squared plus 18x plus 10. All right, so a question like this will be worth like 2 marks. Make sure you're showing enough work to get the 2 marks. Like make sure you're showing a step here to show that you've done the FOIL method, and then that you've collected your like terms and your final answer.